Anita. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make the snow crystal pendant. For materials, you're going to be using triangle beads. These are in a color called Pearl Coat Flamingo. I'm using 11/0 seed beads in a galvanized silver. We are going to be using a 12mm Rivoli. It's called Juicy Peach is the color, but it does have an iridescent of pink and peach and a little bit of lavender on the reflection, so it's a beautiful stone. We're also using SuperDuos, and these are silver full labrador color. I'm also using 15/0 seed beads. These are Miyuki's, and the color is Sparkle Rose Lined Crystal. I'm also using a few of the Miyuki 15/0s in a white, and I'm going to do a little bit of difference in the border that will surround the crystal. So let me clear my area, and I'll show you a quick glimpse of what we're going to be making today. So here is an example of what we're going to be making today. Similar, just slightly different as far as the border that will surround the crystal. I'm going to do that in a white today. So the other thing that you need for materials is you need a chain, and I'm going to put this on a 24-inch chain with a lobster clasp and O-ring. So to complete this project, you'll need all the supplies that were listed at the beginning of the slide. You can also click more in the description box, and that will give you a list of all of the materials you need for today's project. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is string your needle with about a couple of yards of 6-pound Fireline. I'm using white today. Hopefully you'll be able to see this okay because of the color of my beads. I wanted to use something that's going to kind of blend in. So you're going to start your pattern by picking up an 11/0 and a 4mm round. You're going to do that 8 times. So you start with an 11/0, do a 4mm round, 11/0, etc. You're going to start with an 11/0 and you're going to end with a 4mm round. So go ahead and get that on your needle. And then I'm using a size 10 needle right now. You might need to switch to a 12, so have a 12 on hand, just in case it gets a little too tight between the beads. So bring this down until you have about a 4-inch tail, like that. So now we're going to bring our needle back through all of the beads. So if it's easier to do it with them laying on the table, just make sure you don't miss any beads. So I'm going to go ahead and go through these first few, like that. Just pinch your work. And go ahead and advance through the rest of these, and then we can pull the thread to draw the beads together. I got a couple more to go through here. Let's pull that together. So that's what you should have. So next we're going to do a surgeon's knot. So take your tail thread, cross it over your working thread, and we're going to bring that through this loop twice. There's once and twice, and pull. Nice and snug. Now you're going to reverse that, and you're going to do another surgeon's knot. Bring your tail thread over your working thread and bring it through the loop twice, like that. Pull your thread. So now you can clip this tail thread off with a sharp pair of scissors. And that's what you should have so far. So the next step, you want to advance your needle through the 11/0, the 4mm round, and the 11/0. Like that. Pull your thread. Now we're going to create picots between each of the rounds. So you're going to pick up 3 11/0s, like that. You're going to go through this 11/0, the round, and the 11/0, just like that. Pull your thread. So that's going to make this little picot right here. So I'll do one more with you, and then I'll send you on your way. So pick up 3 11/0s, exiting right here. You're going to bring your needle back through the 11/0, the round, and the 11/0, like that. So repeat that step all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get to the last one. So you're picking up 3 11/0s, you're going back through that 11/0, the round, and the next 11/0. And I'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm coming down to my last 11/0 here. I've picked up 3 11/0s. And this time you're only going to go through the 11/0 and the 4mm round, like that. So that's what you should have so far. For our next step, with your thread exiting the round, you're going to go in through the next 3 11/0s. So this is the direction you want to go. You're going through that first 11/0 here, and then we're going to backtrack. We're going to reverse direction. So we go through that first 11/0 after the round, then the 11/0 on the side, and the 11/0 on the outside, the very tip of that picot. So that's where you want your needle coming out of. So now we're going to pick up 3 15/0s, and this is where I'm going to do this border in white because I want it to accent my crystal. So I'm going to pick up 3 15/0s in white. I'm exiting this 11/0 at the tip of the picot. I'm going to bring my needle into the next 11/0 at the point of that picot, like that. There's going to be a bit of a gap, but we're going to let this stay loose because we're going to be putting our Rivoli in here after we get all the way around. So repeat that step, pick up 3 15/0s in white, exiting the end of that picot, you're going into the end of the next 11/0 picot right there, like that. So repeat that step all the way around. You're going to pick up 3 15/0s, exiting here, going into the next one all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. Okay, I'm coming down to the end here. I've got my last 3 15/0s, exiting this 11/0, going into the tip of the picot on the next 11/0. Pull your thread and kind of start to pull it together, and grab your 12mm Rivoli crystal, and you're going to seat that in, right side facing up like this. So pull your thread tight, and for now you're going to have to, it's going to be loose, so you're going to have to hold it down with your thumb, but you want to pull it as tight as you can, and then we're going to go around all of these beads twice. So we're exiting right now this 11-0. Bring your needle through all of the beads, a few beads at a time. So I'm going to bring my needle through these next 3 15-0s. If it gets loose, pull on it. So just pop your needle through like that. And each time you advance, you want to pull it real tight. It's going to be flopping around a little bit this first round, but after we get the second round on, it will be tight. So I'll do that again with you. Bring your needle through all of the beads, seed beads including the 11-0, like that. Pull your thread. Pull it tight. And repeat. Go through one more with you. And just have patience. It's going to be loose for a few rounds until you get to the end, and then it'll get tighter as you reinforce. Just make sure that you are pulling nice and snug each time you're advancing. So continue reinforcing till you get to the beginning here. And then you're going to do that a second time all the way around. So I'll meet you after you've reinforced twice, and then we'll go on to the next step. So here's a quick glimpse after going around twice. I'm going to go around one more time and pulling tight each time. You want to make sure you're pulling real nice and tight. So I'll meet you back after one more round. So you're doing a total of 3 times around to reinforce this. So you'll be coming out of an 11-0 when you're done. Okay, so here is what it looks like. Nice and snug. It shouldn't be going anywhere. So from here, your thread is coming out of an 11-0. So you're going to advance your needle, going back the other direction. You're going to go through this 11-0 here on the side. Then you're going to bring your needle through the 11-0 in between the rounds. So it might be kind of hard to get your needle through there, but this is where I'm going to switch to a size 12 needle. So go ahead and put a size 12 needle on, and I'll meet you back. Okay, now I have my size 12 beading needle because we need to get our needle in through this 11-0 right here. So pull your thread through. And that's where you should be coming out of between these two 11-0s, and this is referred to as the base. So next, exiting this 11-0 here, you're going to advance your needle through the next round and 11-0, like that. So now we're going to pick up 3 11-0s, just like we did earlier. We're going to make a picot here. So you're coming through the 11-0, the round, and the 11-0. It's going to be kind of tight, so that's why you want to switch to a size 12 needle. So go ahead and go through those beads like that, pull your thread, and that's going to make a picot stick out to the side like that. So again, pick up 3 11-0s, bring your needle back through the 11-0 you're exiting, the next round, and the next 11-0. Like that. It's going to be kind of tight, so just be careful as you're pushing your needle through that you don't hurt yourself. So you're going to repeat that all the way around, adding picots like we did right here. So when we get to the last one, I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm coming near the end here. Just a tip for you, if you have trouble getting through these beads, you can use your flat nose to pull your needle through, or push your needle through for that matter if you're having problems, because it is tight getting around this base. So let me get one more picot here, getting near the end, bringing that through. And it is getting a little snug, so I'm going to use my pliers to help push the needle through like that and pull. And this is the last one we're putting a picot on. Picking up 3. You're going to go through. The 11/0 and the round, and probably need your pliers because you need to get through the 11/0 on the other side. There we go. So once you've got your needle through the other side of that, I'm going to flip my work over, and my thread is coming out of this 11/0 here in the base. I want to bring it up through one of the side beads of the picot like that. So pull your needle through like that. So that's where you should be coming out of. So you can flip your work upside down so we can see what we're doing for the next step. For our next step, as we're exiting this side 11/0, we're going to start picking up our triangle beads. So to pick these up, you want to make sure all of your triangle beads are facing the same direction. And I've got mine with the point up and the holes down. So when you pick up your first triangle bead, you're going to pick it up by going through the right hole through the back like this. So pull your needle through, and now we're going to pick up a 15/0 in pink, an 11/0, and a 15/0 like that. So now we're going to bring our needle through the empty hole of the triangle like that, and we're going to go down the side 11/0 of this next picot like that. So you're exiting this side 11/0, you're going into the next side 11/0 like that. Pull your thread. So when you pull your thread, that's going to seat it like this. The point's going to be facing you, and you'll have your seed beads on the outer edge of that. And it's going to flop down like this whole first round, and we're going to fix that when we reinforce from the top side. So I'll show you how to do that next. So don't worry about the triangle flipping like this. It's supposed to do that. So now we're going to advance our needle through the next side 11/0 on the other side of this picot like that. That's where I want my needle to come out of. Pull your thread, and each time you're moving your thread, make sure you're pulling that snug, because you want that nice and snug against your work. So now we're going to repeat that step. We're going to pick up another triangle. Just remember, when you're picking it up, I want my needle to come on the back side of that right hole like that. Bring that down. Now pick up a 15/0, 11/0, and 15/0 like that. So now I want to bring my needle through this empty hole of the triangle in this direction, and then through the next 11-0 on that next picot on the side, like that. Pull your thread and make sure all of your triangles are facing the same direction. It should be the point facing you, like that. If it isn't, then you need to take it off and redo it. So make sure you have all of these facing in the right direction. I'll do one more with you. So bring your thread from that side 11-0 into the next side 11-0. And it's a challenge to get through these, just have patience. So this is where I want my needle coming out of. And each time you advance, pull your thread snug. So now we're going to pick up our next triangle bead and pick it up from the back side like this on the right hole. Bring that down. Now pick up a 15-0, 11-0, and 15-0. So now bring your needle through the empty hole of the triangle and then down through the next side 11-0, like that. And when you pull, just make sure the point is facing you each time. So repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get to the last one. So you're coming out of this side 11-0 here. You're going to advance your needle coming out of this side 11-0, and you're going to pick up your triangle, making sure you're coming from the back side like this, and then pick up your 15-0, 11-0, 15-0, go back through the triangle and down that next side 11-0. And I'll meet you when we're near the end of that step. Okay, I'm coming out of my last side 11-0 here, picking up my triangle from the back, right hole, like that, picking up my 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. Now going through the empty hole here, and then down through the side 11-0, like that. Pull your thread, nice and snug. So that's what it should look like. So now you're going to take your needle, we're exiting this side 11-0 here, you're going to go into the next side 11-0 up through the triangle bead, through the back side, like that. And if you go through that 15-0, that's okay, because we need to go through that anyway. So you want to bring your needle back through that side 11-0, the rear of the triangle, and then pull your thread. So now I'm going to flip my work over like this. So for these next few steps, you're going to be constantly going back and forth, flipping your work upside down and right side up. So right now we're right side up. Coming out of this 15-0, we want to advance through the 11-0 also. Pull your thread. Now I'm going to pick up a pink 15-0. I'm exiting this 11-0 here. I want to go in the middle bead of the 15-0s right across from where the triangle is. So I'm coming into this center 15-0 right here, in between that group of three. Pull your thread. Now pick up another 15-0 and go back through the 11-0 we just exited. Pull your thread and pull it nice and tight, and that's going to make that triangle pop out straight like that. So now you're going to bring your needle down through the 15-0 and the triangle bead to the back side like that. Pull your thread nice and snug. Now flip your work back upside down. So I want to come through the side 11-0 right there, because I'm advancing my thread to the next triangle bead. So now come up through the other side 11-0 and through the triangle on the back side like that, and the 15-0. Pull your thread. Now turn your work over. We're exiting the 15-0. We have to also exit the 11-0. Pick up a 15-0. You're exiting the 11-0. We want to go in the middle bead, the middle 15-0 right here of the group, directly across from that triangle, like that. Pull your thread. Pick up another 15-0. And now go back through that 11-0 on that triangle. Pull your thread, nice and snug. And notice that these two triangles are now sticking out sideways. So now we're going to bring our needle back down through the 15-0 and the triangle left side, like that. Pull your thread through. Now flip it back over. We want to advance our needle through that left side 11-0. Pull snug each time. And now go through the next side 11-0 and the next triangle bead. If you can't get it through the 15-0, that's okay. You can do that when you flip it over. So now turn your work back over. So we're coming out of the 15-0. We need to be coming out of the 11-0 next. Pick up a 15-0. You're exiting this 11-0. You're going into the center bead of these three 15-0s directly across from the triangle, like that. Pull your thread. Pick up another 15-0. Now go through the 11-0. And pull. And that's how you get these triangles to stand out straight. So that's going to be the step we need to finish completing. You have to do that on all the rest of these triangles. So we'll go down the 15-0 through the triangle, flip your work over so you can see the back side. You're advancing your needle through these next two 11-0s, these two side 11-0s, back up the triangle, and then you're going to repeat those steps that we just did. And you can rewind the video if needed to review that. And I'll meet you when we get down to the last triangle bead. Okay, I'm coming near the end here. Going down my triangle to the back side, getting ready to turn my last triangle to the correct position. So I'm going down this 11-0. Then up the 11-0, side 11-0, and the triangle bead, like that. Flipping my work back to the front. Going through this 15-0 and 11-0. Picking up a 15-0. Going through the center 15-0 opposite the triangle. Pick up another 15-0. Going through the 11-0 and 15-0, pull, back down the triangle, like that. And now that completes getting your triangles all to stand up at attention. So now we're on this back side here coming out of our triangle. We're going to go down the side 11-0 of that next picot like that, and then up the side of the next picot, getting ready for our next step, like that. So we're on the back side. That's what you should have so far. Next, we're going to start picking up our SuperDuos. So we're exiting this side 11-0 right here. You're going to pick up 3 SuperDuos. And it doesn't matter which hole you go in. Now we're going to go down the side of this 11-0 on the next picot, like that. Pull your thread, and those SuperDuos are going to fall like that on top of the triangle. So you're looking at the back side right now. So this is what the front is going to look like. So continue pulling that snug. So we're exiting this side 11-0. Advance your needle to the next side 11-0. And it'll be a bit of a challenge, but just kind of get your needle in there. Like that. Pick up 3 more SuperDuos, exiting this 11-0, going through the next side 11-0, like that. Very easy step. So you're going to continue adding 3 SuperDuos between each of these 2 11-0s. So you'll advance your needle like that to the next one, pick up 3 SuperDuos, and go into the next side 11-0 right here. So do that all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get to the last one. Also, regarding SuperDuos or any multi-hole beads, check your holes to make sure none of those holes are blocked. And I'll meet you back when we get near the end. Okay, so we're coming out of this last side 11-0 here. I've picked up 3 more SuperDuos, and I'm coming down this next side 11-0 here. Pull your thread. That's what you should have so far on the back. So now we're going to advance our needle through the next side 11-0. It's going to be a little tricky here, so just bear with me. We're going to go in through this side 11-0. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but just arrange it. You might have to push your beads around a bit. So now we're going to go through the next 3 SuperDuos, that bottom hole. So you'll have to do this 1 bead at a time because of the angle. So I'm going through the next 3 SuperDuos, the bottom hole. Just make sure your thread doesn't get caught. Like that. Now I'm going through this next 3rd SuperDuo right here, bottom hole. And now I'm going to reverse direction and advance my needle through the same SuperDuo but top hole right here. So that's what you should have so far. Threads coming out of this SuperDuo right here, and then we'll be going on to the next step. Okay, for our next step, once you're exiting this SuperDuo here, after you've advanced from the bottom hole to the top hole, you're going to pick up another SuperDuo. So bring your needle in through the next empty hole of the next SuperDuo, and then repeat that one more time. Pick up another SuperDuo, go into the empty hole of the next SuperDuo. So now we have our next cluster of 3 coming up, but we're going to pick up an 11-0 this time. So pick up an 11-0, go in through that next empty hole of the SuperDuo, and now we're going to put a SuperDuo here and here. So pick up a SuperDuo, go into the next hole, pick up a SuperDuo, go into the next hole. So that completes that next trio. Now we're going to pick up an 11-0. Go through the next empty hole. So you're going to continue that pattern. You're putting 2 SuperDuos, one here, and an 11-0 in between each cluster of 3. A SuperDuo here, a SuperDuo here, an 11-0 in between the next 2 clusters of 3. So continue with that pattern until you get all the way around, and I'll meet you on the other side. So you're putting a SuperDuo here, 11-0, and then 2 SuperDuos, 11-0, and so forth. And I'll meet you back shortly. Okay, I'm coming near the end here. I've got my next cluster of 3 coming up, so I'm going to put a 11-0 before that cluster starts, in between these 2 SuperDuos. Now I'm going to add a SuperDuo here. One more SuperDuo here. And then my last 11-0 right here. Kind of tight, but that's going to place that right there in between those 2. So that's what the back side of your piece of work should look like. So we'll be going on to the next step. Okay, so with our thread coming out of this SuperDuo right here, we're going to advance our needle through that bottom hole of that SuperDuo on the outer edge. And now I'm going to bring my needle through the empty hole of that SuperDuo, like that. Now I'm going to flip my work over, and we'll be working from this direction. Okay, I'm going to make a slight correction here. Wherever your thread ended up on that last step, you want to bring your needle through the outer edge of the empty hole like this, facing not where there's a 15-0 in the middle, but where there isn't one. So this is where your thread should be coming out of for the next step, like this. So from here, we're going to pick up 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s. And I'm using the pink 15-0s, like that, with my 11-0 in the middle, and then 2 15-0s. So I'm exiting this SuperDuo here. We're going to go into the next SuperDuo like that. And that's going to place your beads in between those 2 SuperDuos like that. So now we're going to pick up 3 15-0s. So we're exiting this top hole here. We're going to bring our needle through this 11-0 that's in between these SuperDuos right here. It's a little tricky getting your needle in there. Just try to push the bead up if you can, or get in it at an angle. Like that. Now you're going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. You're exiting this 11-0 here. You're going to go into the empty hole of that next SuperDuo, like that. So this is going to be the pattern all the way around. You're going to have 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s, like that. Now where you have an 11-0 in between, you're going to have 3 15-0s on each side of that. So I'll do one more with you. So from here to here, we're picking up 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s, like that. You're exiting this SuperDuo, go into the next SuperDuo. Now you're picking up 3 15-0s, like that, exiting this SuperDuo, going into this 11-0 right here. Pick up 3 more 15-0s, exiting the 11-0, going into the empty hole of the next SuperDuo. Pull snug. So repeat that all the way around. Here you're picking up 250 nose, 11-0, 250 nose, going in through this SuperDuo here. Then you're picking up 350 nose, exiting here, going through the 11-0, then picking up 3 more 50 nose and going in through the empty hole. And you're repeating these 2 steps all the way around. So go ahead and get that done, and I'll meet you back. Okay, we're coming near the end here. I just did my 250 nose, 11-0, 250 nose. Now I'm doing my 350 nose, going down this 11-0 here, exiting my SuperDuo, picking up 3 more. Now I'm exiting the 11-0, going in through my SuperDuo. So that completes that round. So that's what it looks like. Now for your next step, you're going to be reinforcing this all the way around. But you're going to be making this 11-0 pop out. So what you're going to do once you've completed your round, you're going to advance your needle through these next 2 50-0s, like that. You're going to skip the 11-0 and go in through the next 2 50-0s and the SuperDuo. And you're going to pull. And if that bead does not pop up, use your needle to pull it up and pull. And that will make your 11-0 pop out like that. So you're going to do that all the way around. So when you're advancing through these next beads, you want to just go through the 50-0s, skip the 11-0, and just go through the 50-0s like that. Now I'm going to go through the SuperDuo and the next 2 50-0s. Like that. Coming out of those 2 50-0s, skip the next 11-0, go through the next 2 50-0s and the SuperDuo, skipping that 11-0, pull, and see how that 11-0 pops out? That's what you want. So you're going to repeat that all the way around. When you're coming to these 50-0s that are on the down angle, just go through the 50-0s to get to your next 11-0, accenting your next 11-0. So just skip all the 11-0s, you're going through the 50-0s, SuperDuo, and the next 2 50-0s. Like that. Skip the 11-0, go through the next 2, pull. If it doesn't pop out, use your needle to pop it up, like that, and pull. And that's what it should look like. So repeat that step all the way around, and then we'll be coming near the end here. See you shortly. Okay, so once you've reinforced, I'm just going to explain to you how to put this O-ring on. Your needle should be coming through one of these SuperDuos here where that V is. So once you come through that SuperDuo, you're going to put on 6 11-0 beads and your O-ring. And I'm using a soldered O-ring. This is an 8mm. And then come through the SuperDuo here on this side. So you want to reinforce that a couple of times, and then bring your needle down through a few beads, do a half hitch knot, go through a couple of more beads, do another half hitch knot. It's pretty simple to add an O-ring like that. And this is big enough that a chain with a lobster clasp should go through. So that completes this pendant. So let me show you how I'm going to add the chain, and I'll be right back. Okay, for the final step, adding the chain. I'm using a chain that I've got here. It's about a 24-inch. You can cut a length of chain to whatever desired length you want. This is like a 1.5 millimeter. It's pretty lightweight. So basically I'm just going to show you how I add my clasp. So I'm just going to pop this on through my O-ring like that. Now you can do anything different here. If you don't like the O-ring, if you'd rather do a wire guard, you can certainly make an adaptation to put the fastener however way you'd like. That'll be fine. For this end, I'm going to be adding the lobster clasp. So I've got a 4 millimeter jump ring here, which is already open. I'm going to put my chain, the end of my chain on that, and my lobster clasp. Now I'm going to take another pair of flat nose pliers and close that jump ring nice and snug. Make sure there's no gaps. Now I'm going to add an O-ring to the other end of my chain. This is a 6 millimeter. So just pop that on. Close my jump ring. And that completes that necklace. So there you have the beautiful snow crystal necklace. I'll show you the difference in these two. This is the first one I made. Similar, very similar in color, but the bail is a little different. And like I said, I didn't care for that because it's too tight on the chain. It doesn't flow freely. So I decided to make that change for today's tutorial. The other difference, if you'll notice, the center of the crystal is surrounded by white versus the pink, and it really pops a little more with this. So you can experiment and see what other color variations you'd like to use on that. Lots of possibilities. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. This particular pattern is by Renee Kovnesky, who's the original designer. I got this out of her book called Exquisite Stitching. You'll see the link to this particular book in the description box. I also will list all of the suppliers I use and the measurements and counts of the beads you need for today's project. I also sell my own jewelry, and if you're interested in checking to see what I have, I did make a few different versions of this, so feel free to browse and take a look. I do have gift cards as well. So on that note, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and thank you for joining me, and happy beading.